Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your favorite accountability podcast every single Monday, 1-ish Eastern Standard Time. Dream Do Done with the pulpit chick, Serena Brown Travis, who's doing pulpit chick now at school, Tamara Hartley, the how-to coach, and myself, Dr. Stacey N.C. Grant, the chief faithpreneur. It is October 11th, and for the record, my birthday broke the internet. So let me give myself. That's why we weren't here what ish on October 4th, because whatever went down with Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all of their subsidiaries, it was quite interesting because we were ready to go. I'm like, hey guys, you ready? There's no connection, like what's going on? So that was the running joke that all my friends kept texting me, like, oh, you broke the internet on your birthday.
Right. And it was funny because we were texting back and forth, and I was like, okay, well, let's get on and share a message that we won't be on. Oh, we can't even do that.
Yeah, it was a little like, what in the world? So, if you watch the show and I haven't returned your social media message, just pray for me. I'm trying not to be stressed out with thanking people for the love because I'm so behind on everything. And the day, it was still a beautiful day, and it's month of October. So, I celebrate all month long. So you can still send birthday wishes and love. My sons are like, you didn't put your Cash App. I'm like, that's some new age stuff. Like, that putting your Cash App on your birthday, I didn't know I broke a rule. He was like, Ma, that's what people do. Put the Cash App. I'm like, okay. But anyway, I'm just grateful to have this time with my sister, checking in as we hold it down for Serena, who, like, is taking care of business. And we appreciate the fact that this is our check in. It's the beginning of a new week. This month is here. We're in the fourth quarter. There's quite a bit to do. And Tamara wants to share just a few lessons to learn from the shutdown. And then we're going to talk about the fact that today is being recognized as Indigenous Peoples Day, something that President Biden wrote and declared for today. It's not every state that's recognizing it, because we know that the Columbus Day holiday is still a holiday that many states and communities celebrate. So it's an interesting dialogue. So we're going to tap on that a little bit. But Tamara, what say you about this whole social media situation? What should it teach us?
I have been ranting all week. 3 of my clients got an earful over the week because I really was just like, this is a real live example, people. This is a real drill. Like, this is happening. If your business is completely reliant on any social media, this was a lesson to you. The Dream Do Done show, we come on Facebook Live, but honestly, we could have, we've done it before. We've done a live broadcast outside of social media, then posted it later. So there's ways to get around that. But if your business is reliant solely on social media that is not your own platform, then you got a lesson this week because your business went down. You didn't make any sales all day. And if social media is the only way that you can reach your clients or touch your clients, and you're not pulling that information into your own database system, your own autoresponder system, that's that MailChimp, Active Campaign, those types of things. If you don't have that, just look at where your business is when it is reliant on someone else. If they go down, you go down. And that's one of the things I always preach about: having your own website domain, having your own way of doing things so that you're not so reliant on everybody. I know it's very easy to jump on some of the latest apps out there and let them help you with your business. I know some people, and I'm not knocking any of this because I know where I started and how it works, but maybe you're on some platform that does your website, a platform that helps you sell your products, a platform that helps you do some of those things. And sometimes when people go to it, it's like, StreamYard.com/Tamara Hartley. So it's really not your platform because it's another domain on the front of that. And that's okay to get started, but you always have to think about your longevity and where you're trying to go with business, because you need to own some of your own real estate, some of your own properties, so that when Facebook goes down, you have another avenue to be able to do something. Now, I don't know how many of you were Periscopers
Yeah. I
And
was. Mhm.
Periscope is gone completely. I saw a big message on my Twitter that said Periscope is gone. Now you can go live on Twitter. I guess that's taken its place. But look at people who build their platforms or something. If you're an influencer that uses Instagram, you weren't influencing anybody last Monday. So I'm just saying all that to say, make sure you diversify. It's okay to use some of those other platforms. They can be part of your strategy, but it definitely should not be your only strategy for sure.
Wise words, and that's true. Diversified. Diversity is in everything, right? It's in your
Absolutely.
portfolio. It's in your social media. It's in you know all things where we should be looking at how not to just put what they say all your eggs in
In one
one
big old
basket.
basket.
Absolutely. Well, I'm grateful I could still communicate and we had other ways in which we could reach out, but it's so important to take that advice. And I hope everyone is really listening to that. And it also, like you said, it was a wake up call for people to look at how do you still reach the customer when the internet goes down or an app goes down, because anything can happen. All
Absolutely.
this technology is great when it works, but when it doesn't, it doesn't.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely. So, let's acknowledge this is a kind of new conversation for some people who didn't realize that, there was such a thing as Indigenous Peoples Day. And President Biden wanted to make a statement about it. He said for generations, federal policy systematically sought to assimilate and displace Native American people and eradicate Native cultures. So he wrote in a proclamation that he issued on Friday. Today, we recognize Indigenous peoples' resilience and strength, as well as the immeasurable positive impact they've had on every aspect of American society. So, congratulations to the Indigenous people of this country having this recognition. It doesn't mean that Columbus Day is not still celebrated and acknowledged. It's still a Columbus Day is still a federal holiday, but people have quite a bit to share on the fact that it highlights someone who wasn't kind to the indigenous people of this land and what the story is. So we wanted to just, take a moment to acknowledge that. What are your thoughts, Tamara?
So I do have several thoughts about it. It just seems to me very funny that they happen to be, kind of now going to be celebrated or acknowledged on the same day instead of acknowledging what really the issue and problem is. Why not? And I live in Columbus, that's named after Columbus. So I know exactly, what history says, but I also know what really happened. And so for us to kind of like, it's almost like washing over it a little bit. I get that he acknowledged it and I appreciate that fact, but also making it a part of the very day of the person that kind of made it very hard for you to exist. I don't know how I feel about that. It seems like it should be its own thing, its own day, and not have to coexist with it's like having to coexist with your enemy on the same platform. Or the person that caused you the problems or things that you dealt with in the very first place. So that was my only issue with it, was like, what exactly does that mean? And then even though when you say indigenous, I know we're all very intelligent, but I was like, what exactly does that mean? Is that really something that calls it out as to what it is and that people will recognize what it is, so that they can have that opportunity to say, oh, it's this.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's an opportunity for some history lessons that have been missing,
Hmm.
from the books. And, even the incorrect way of saying Indian instead of Native American and Indigenous mean those who occupied this land, and really helping to create a clearer picture of how the history of this country unfolds. So I'm like, go, Indigenous people, go. Like,
Yes, I agree. I
it's
agree, but it does sound like, okay, we're celebrating the people who occupied this land first, and then we're gonna flip and turn around and celebrate the person that took it
I know. And I think
on the
what
same
they would
day.
I know the Italian culture won't be too happy of about what I see in the article as well. And this is a New York Times article, and I'll share that with our viewers who are watching live as well as those who might catch the replay, that this is an opportunity for heavy conversations, because I think some bills are proposing that we wipe out Columbus Day and replace it with Indigenous Peoples Day. So
Okay.
that's going to be a challenge because there are many. communities and states, and of course the Italian culture that celebrates Columbus Day. So interesting dialogue for us to just be aware of. And it is the day, so we didn't want to not acknowledge the fact that this is a part of conversation and not just a day off. When we get these holidays, it's real easy to slip into, oh, I can sleep late or make it a 4-day weekend or travel and do things. But typically, these days are acknowledging something that requires us to just pause and reflect, maybe
Yeah.
an opportunity for educating ourselves. And when we talk about dream do done, can you imagine how the descendants of the original indigenous people on this land feel just getting some sort of recognition, right? That they could, their dream was to have this country in some way apologize,
Yeah.
acknowledge their existence, right? So who knows what will come from this and what kind of education can happen, because we already know indigenous people, African American people, Latina, like there's so many who would really like to see some shifts and changes in how we tell the truth about the existence of the melting pot that has become America. So, hey, I am excited about how the younger generation is putting the fire on everybody. Like, it's a new day.
So, Dr. Spencer, you just explained that so well, and that's really the focus of what we're talking about. So, Tamara, I'm gonna get off the soapbox because I was just like, what and what? What? No, I do think you're right about those conversations being had. And, a lot of time, from a business standpoint, whenever we have these days, it becomes very commercialized, the Columbus Day sale, this day sale. And, we kind of focus on how our business can grow on a particular day. But we don't think about what it really means and why we're here at that point. So I do appreciate that this has happened and that we are here. And I hope people do have some conversations around what indigenous really means and just kind of celebrate that, because like you said, people have been waiting for a very long time to be acknowledged and recognized. So that I do appreciate.
Yeah, and it's all a learning curve. And as you know, a good portion of our listening audience, you are in business or endeavor to be an entrepreneur, or maybe you're a corporate and you're just looking at ways that you can have impact. It's learning about this information and making that a part of how you acknowledge. You could have an indigenous people sale. Like, there are all sorts of things that can come from this, but our podcast is always about things that make you think, holding you accountable to moving past the dream to actually doing and getting it done. And hey, somebody had a dream to even make this a recognized sort of holiday in a couple of states. So it's not everywhere, but they started somewhere. So wherever you're starting today, whatever you're working on, it's the fourth quarter and you can still finish strong. There's still time to get things done. Don't throw in the towel now, and
Not yet.
continue to push forward.
Wait, it's funny you said don't throw in the towel, because you do know that so often people give up right before the shout happens. Right before the shout can happen, they give up. And I just do encourage people to keep going, no matter how bleak it looks at times. Keep pushing, because it can change in an instant. In an instant, all the work you put in can turn around and you can be on your way to, okay, wow, this is where I really want to be. And it's just, you have to persist and keep going, for sure.
That's a whole word. That was a poopa chick word. Oh my goodness. Well, I appreciate you saying that, because I'm about, I'm in, hat down representing New York, because we're about to just capture the moment where we share the financial resources with two of the families from Night of Healing, who are still rebuilding, still in need, and their hearts are just so grateful, because it's a process getting all of the resources that FEMA and all of our other government agencies have promised, and we know that they're doing their best. But to give them something in the gap really makes me feel good, right? And that persistence, and they could have given up, and they didn't know any other hope was coming. So just an example again that extraordinary things come from ordinary people. So it's just
Absolutely.
going beyond what you're in the midst of and thinking on the things of others. So I know it's a different kind of show today. So we hope it makes you ponder, hope it makes you think about, what you're doing, how you're doing it, and how you can just contribute to making this world better. That's ultimately why we're here. So any final thoughts, Tamara Hartley?
I do not have any final thoughts. I like the shows where we can ponder things, because sometimes we think, we can be so focused on our own little bubble, our own little business, our own little, network, and we don't really see how it fits into a larger, bigger picture. And so I love when we show those moments, because this is an example of just that. And I just want to say, I have love for you, Stacey, for one, sticking to it and seeing this to fruition. I know we had an emotional show kind of covering when you first started this, but now you're actually presenting the fruits of what you put together. And so I definitely love that. And look, when I saw your hat earlier, all I could do was Alicia Keys, New York. But you know what? It has so much more meaning than that, especially to you.
Yeah.
So I appreciate all that
Yes.
you've done. And I hope all of that goes well. I hope we get some snippets, or can, kind of see,
Yes.
the actual presentation of how it all works out, because we're all in this with you. So
And I appreciate it. And we're still collecting. I didn't get discouraged at the amount, because it's 250 families, so
yeah.
we're doing our best to help one family at a time. And
Mhm.
when we share this, hopefully that'll invite other people, because it adds up. $5 plus
Yeah.
$5 equals 10, and 10 plus 10 equals 20. So these families are just so grateful, and seeing what they've been through and what they're going through. I'm just grateful that I could be used as a vessel. And with your love and prayers and support and everybody, that's how we make this world better. So thank you for tuning in. I'm just feeling like I need a hug. I need to come to Ohio. I need to see.
That's my virtual. But you do need to make a trip out here. We
Yeah,
we have to make that happen for sure.
yeah. We're gonna figure that out. We're gonna figure that out. And we thank you for tuning in. Come back next week. Catch the replay. If you're catching the replay, put hashtag replay so we know. And what are you working on? What do you want us to know about this fourth quarter? And where can we be supportive as we plan out the rest of the programming for the year? So go to dreamdodone.com if you didn't get your journal. Giving you the side eye if you didn't get that yet. And thank you for all the kind notes that you send of how helpful it's been to those of you who have made that investment. So take care, everyone.
Take
Bye
care.
bye.